A fragile 2-week ceasefire between the United States and Iran is expiring this Wednesday, and the rope holding it together is fraying fast. Both nations are staring down two distinct paths. Down one road, they resume a devastating regional conflict. Down the other, their diplomats meet at an upcoming summit in Islamabad, Pakistan, to sign a historic peace agreement. But behind closed doors, things look surprisingly optimistic. Officials tell reporters that key negotiators, including U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and Iran's Mohammad Bakr Ghalibaf, agree on the broad outlines of a deal. If you look at the open ocean, the picture is entirely different. Over the weekend, the U.S. seized an Iranian-flagged vessel in the Strait of Hormuz, maintaining a strict naval blockade. The public rhetoric is escalating right alongside the military maneuvers. President Trump recently warned that if a deal isn't reached, lots of bombs start going off, while Tehran countered by promising to reveal new cards on the battlefield. So, why are two nations aggressively posturing for total war when they are supposedly days away from signing a peace treaty? To understand the contradiction, we have to look at the U.S. negotiating strategy. Washington is dispatching a peace delegation featuring special envoys like Steve Witkoff, while simultaneously enforcing a tight naval blockade in the Gulf. In geopolitics, this is a textbook application of maximalist pressure. It's a strategy designed to push an opponent to their absolute breaking point right before you sit down to talk. The logic is straightforward. Apply maximum pain in the final hour so that when the ink dries, you extract the most favorable terms possible. That blockade in the Strait of Hormuz is the physical manifestation of this strategy. It is specifically designed to squeeze Iran's economy right before the Islamabad summit. And the president's public threat about bombs going off acts as a psychological force multiplier. It takes the very real physical pressure of the naval standoff and amplifies it into an existential threat. None of this is accidental. These are highly calculated bargaining chips being thrown on the table to establish dominance ahead of the negotiations. Iran, naturally, understands exactly what is happening. When Iran's chief negotiator, Mohammad Bakr Ghalibaf, publicly states his refusal to negotiate under the shadow of threats, it is a strategic necessity to push back against that pressure. When Tehran hints at new cards on the battlefield, they are manufacturing counter-leverage to neutralize the blockade. By creating threats, Iran signals they cannot be bullied into submission. They need an actual negotiation rather than a table of surrender. But from the perspective of the host nation, this back-and-forth brinkmanship is highly alarming. Pakistani mediators are growing increasingly concerned by the intense pressure both sides are applying. Those mediators have reportedly delivered an urgent warning to Washington. They argue that loud, public threats destroy the political win-win narrative that both the U.S. and Iranian leaders need to sell a final treaty to their own citizens. This highlights the major flaw in maximalist pressure. Pushing hard creates leverage, sure, but if you push too hard, you corner your opponent into capitulation, and that guarantees they walk away. All of this comes to a head immediately. The Wednesday expiration of the ceasefire is the ultimate, inescapable test of these extreme tactics. If the brinkmanship works, the immense pressure forces a final compromise, clearing the path for a successful, historic summit in Islamabad. But if the bluff is pushed too far and neither side is willing to swallow their pride, the quiet diplomatic progress we've seen will shatter entirely. The gap between a lasting peace and a devastating regional war now hinges on a single factor: whether these leaders know exactly when to stop playing the leverage game. In modern geopolitics, the loudest, most terrifying drums of war are often just the final, highly dangerous negotiating tactics of a fragile peace.